We are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 7. Further inquiries by Vidura, text 39. Purusasya sasamstanam Purusasya sasamstanam Svarupam va parasya cha Jnanam sanaigagamam yattat Go Sisya Prachojanam Purusasya sasamstanam Svarupam va parasya cha Jnanam sanaigamayat Go Sisya Prachojanam Purusasya sasamstanam Svarupam va parasya cha Jnanam sanaigamam yattat Go Sisya Prachojanam. Yes. Purusasya sasamstanam Svarupam va parasya cha Jnanam sanaigamam yattat Go Sisya Prachojanam. Purusasya sasamstanam Svarupam va parasya cha Jnanam sanaigamam yattat Go Sisya Prachojanam. Purusasya sasamstanam Svarupam va parasya cha Jnanam sanaigamam yattat Go Sisya Prachojanam. Mataji, please. Mahatyam Pralayapati Jnanam sanaigamam yattat Go Sisya Prachojanam. Sasya sasamstanam Svarupam va parasya cha Jnanam sanaigamam yattat Go Sisya Prachojanam. Purusasya sasamstanam Svarupam va parasya cha Jnanam sanaigamam yattat Go Sisya Prachojanam. Word for word translation. Purusasya, of the living entity, cha, also, samstanam, existence, svarupam, identity, va, either, or, parasya, of the supremes, cha, also, jnanam, knowledge, cha, also, naigamam, in the matter of the Upanishads, yat, that, tat, the same, go, spiritual master, Sisya, disciple, Prajochanam, necessity. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. What are the truths regarding the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What are their identities? What are the specific values in the knowledge in the Vedas? And what are the necessities for the spiritual master and his disciples? Please repeat. What are the truths regarding the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What are their identities? What are the specific values in the knowledge in the Vedas? And what are the necessities for the spiritual master and his disciples? Purport. The living entities are constitutionally servitors of the Lord, who can accept all kinds of service from everyone. It is clearly declared, Bhagavad Gita 5:29, that the Lord is the supreme enjoyer of the benefits of all sacrifices and penances, the proprietor of all that is manifested, and the friend of all living entities. That this is real identity. Therefore, when the living entity accepts the supreme proprietorship of the Lord and acts in that attitude, he assumes his real identity in order to elevate the living entity to this standard of knowledge. There is necessity of spiritual association. The bona fide spiritual master desires that his disciples know the process of rendering transcendental service to the Lord. And the disciples also know that they have to learn about the eternal relationship between God and the living entity from a self-realized soul. To disseminate transcendental knowledge, one must retire from mundane activities on the strength of enlightenment in knowledge in terms of Vedic wisdom. That is the sum and substance of all questions in this verse. I read the verse once again. Purusasya sasamstanam svarupam va parasyacha Hyanam sanaigamam yatat gosisya prajochanam. What are the truths regarding the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What are their identities? What are the specific values in knowledge in the Vedas? And what are the necessities for the spiritual master and his disciples? Om Ajnana Timrandasya Chinanchala Shalakya Saksharan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svam Rupakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiro Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shirom Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shivshakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Chatpate Gopesha Kopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvare Vishabhane Sutadevi Pranamama Haripriye Avanka Kalptruvasha Kipasnavesha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Nama Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarne Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So here we have Vidura is asking questions posing questions to Maitreya Muni. It's an entire chapter full of questions. And the next chapters, the third canto, the fourth canto, Maitreya Muni will answer all these questions. These questions are important, posing questions to the spiritual master. In Bhagavad Gita, in the purport of the verse 434, Tat vidi pranipatne paraprashna sevana upadekshante teganam gyanas tat vadakshana. Srila Prabhupada writes that the combination of inquiring, asking questions to the spiritual master, and humility, that combination will lead to the deeper understanding of transcendental knowledge. Srila Prabhupada also in that purport writes that one must understand this transcendental subject matter by hearing and inquiring from the spiritual master, and must contemplate on it, how to bring it in practice and then realize it. That is the process. That's the process we are undergoing by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, later, I think in the fifth canto, you have Vitrasur. Vitrasur, externally a demon, is fighting with Indra, who is externally a pious person, very pious and very powerful, but he is still internally, is a Sakam Bhakta. Sakam means he has still some material desires. And Vitrasur is externally a demon, but internally is a pure devotee. So from that we learn things are not always what externally appears to be. But Vitrasura is praying, is speaking to Indra. And he says in one verse that death is welcome. Death is welcome because when I leave this body, I will be reinstated in my original position as the servant of the Lord. And that is what a pure devotee only desires. He wants to serve the Lord. He does not ask anything from the Lord. He wants to be reinstated in his original constitutional position. But the problem, the essence of the problem is explained in the purport here by Srila Prabhupada. It says that you can be situated in this original position as a servitor of the Lord, that, but you can only do that if you know Krishna's position. So there are three elements of Sambandha Jnana. Sambandha Jnana is the knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. And to have that relationship, you must know who Krishna is. If you know who Krishna is, then we know, oh, I'm not Krishna. That's the first realization. Then you have to realize who you are, and then what the relationship is, which is devotional service. So these are three elements of Sambandha Jnana. But in that verse, Bhaktaram Jahya Tapasam, what does it mean? Krishna is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. And why is that? That Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is the proprietor of everything, so he has the right to enjoy that. And Suridam Sarvabhutanam is a surit, is a friend of everyone, is in everyone's heart. Santimricha, Santarishyasi. Then you attain peace. So if you look at that verse which explains the position of the Supreme Lord, then what do we see in this world? Just the inverse. Everyone thinks that he's the enjoyer. And this should be mine for my enjoyment. But that's illusion. Illusion comes from tamas, from forgetfulness. And that forgetfulness is forgetfulness of Krishna. We forget Krishna, and then we think, oh, I want to enjoy. And then the false I comes. And then we see all these objects in this world, and we think, oh, I want to enjoy this and that, so I want this to be mine. So from this tamas, this ignorance, comes moha, illusion. The illusion is I'm the enjoyer. And then the next step is mamoha. We think this is mine. But from the moment you think something is yours, everything is temporary in this world, it changes. Relationships change. You think that is my husband, that is my good friend, but a few days later it changes. And because it changes, it defeats your expectations and you suffer. That's the result of this Mahamoha. You will suffer that tamishra. And all these illusions together, they create this body concept of life. And you think at the end of life, I'm going to die. That's andattamishra, that is great suffering. So one illusion comes out of another. But yes, all right, that we are not the enjoyer. So can't we enjoy? You take prasadam, you can't enjoy. We are not the enjoyer, right? It's Krishna. So can we enjoy? That Vedanta Sutra says, Ananda Maya Vyasat. The living entity, the spirit soul, is meant for enjoyment. Oh, how do we solve that conflict? Krishna in the enjoyer, and we can't enjoy then. No, that we can enjoy. But Anandamaya Prasad means spiritual enjoyment, the enjoyment of the soul, not the enjoyment of the body. That's different. So the living entities are meant to enjoy in their relationship with Krishna. And that relationship means spiritual bliss, ecstasy. And we all chant the holy name of Krishna, that if we are situated in our original position as a servant of the servant, Gopi Bhakta Kamalyor Das Anudas Anudas. Thus, Lord Chaitanya said we are the servant of the servant of the servant of the lover of the gopis. So that's Krishna. Not directly, the servant of the servant of the servant. So that is our original position. So, therefore, to perform the devotional service properly, we must be situated in this Sambandha Jnana, a knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. That in Harinam Chintamani, Harinam Chintamani is a work written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He wrote that in the year 1900. How old was Srila Prabhupada in 1900? 4 years old, yeah. So, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote this Harinam Chintamani in the form of a conversation between Haridas Thakur and Lord Chaitanya. And the question is, how can we chant the holy name successfully? Of course, Lord Chaitanya explains that in his Sikshastikam, Trinatapi Sanityanata Orapi Saisna Amanina Manadanya Kirtanya Sadarina Danam Najanam Nasunrim Kavitava Sharisakamaye Mama Chamami Chamamishfre Bhavata Bhakta Hai Tukitfai. One must be more humble than a straw in the street, more tolerant than a tree. One should be devoid of all false prestige and be ready to give all honor to others. One should not seek wealth or beautiful women or followers. No, one should only want causeless devotional service, birth after birth, so self even no liberation. So that's the mood of the chanting, but that mood you can only apply when you are situated in the Sambandha Jnana, in the mood of a servant of the servant of the servant. And Haridas Thakur says that, yes, you can chant the holy name only successfully if you are situated in this Sambandha Jnana, knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. Who Krishna is, who we are, what is our relationship. So the first thing is to know who Krishna is. And the first 9 cantos explain us about this Sambandha Jnana, knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. And the basic elements are explained here in the purport. That, yes, Bhaktaram Sartapasam Sarvalokmashvaram Sudam Savabhalbhutanam Hyattvamam Samtim Ricchati. That's the first thing we need to know. Krishna is the enjoyer. He's a proprietor of everything. And we may think ourselves the proprietor, that you think this is my house, but factually it's a temporary sentiment, because you can only say that as long as you have this body, but we are very temporary in this body. That therefore, real renunciation means becoming aware that everything belongs to Krishna, Rupa Goswami says. And therefore, we should use everything in the service of Krishna. And so that is real renunciation. It is not that you can go to the house of your neighbor and you tell your neighbor, it's mine now, I'm going to live here. What will the neighbor say? He makes a phone call and some man in a white jacket come to get you. No, it's insanity. So if we think, yes, this is my house and my wife and my husband, and I'm going to renounce it, it's false, because it's not yours. When it's not yours, you cannot renounce. So that kind of renunciation is false. It is because this renunciation is incomplete in knowledge. That complete renunciation means understanding. It belongs to Krishna, therefore I have to use it in his service. It may be under my care, but I use it in his service. So that is rightful renunciation, using everything in the service of Krishna. So, knowing our real identity. When I came in contact with this movement, and after a few years studying the Bhagavatam, I came to realize, who am I really? That if we come to the point where to the point who we really are, it's very different from the modern concept that I'm the body. That then if you realize that, you give up all your attachments. And when you give up your attachment, you stop suffering. But materialistic people, everything what they think they are will end at the time of death. So in that way, because they are not aware of the soul, for them death is a reality. That they lose everything. But if we are situated in our connection with Krishna, then death has no much meaning. It's just a temporary stage. We sleep at night. We sleep at night and we get up in the morning. Prabhupada said that's like dying. If we look at, we are the consciousness in this body. This consciousness comes from the soul, and now we are Jagrati, we are awake. The awake consciousness means that the consciousness pervades the subtle and the gross body. That's being awake. But then we are going to sleep, and you dream. If you dream, that means in the dream you forget the gross body. You get another identity in the dream. It's all gone. And it creates a new identity in your dream. So it means the consciousness is pervading the subtle body. But if you go to deep sleep, then there is no dream. That means that the consciousness is within the soul, that it's still there. It's still covered with the subtle and the gross body, but the consciousness is not in the subtle and the gross body. But still, if we hear something, we wake up, and then the consciousness fills against the subtle and the gross body. And we become aware of the material situation. But if we are situated in this Sambandha Gyan by abhideya, by the practice of devotional service, then that even a pure devotee, when he goes into deep sleep, then the consciousness is retracted within the soul. But within the soul is a super soul. We are still Krishna conscious from the super soul. And that's a state of liberation that we need to attain. I had experience when I underwent a surgery under full anesthesia, and it was interesting because before losing so-called external consciousness, when they put a mask on you, I was thinking of Krishna, and then a moment later, I saw that first light. That means the consciousness fills the subtle body. And then I got external consciousness. I saw the lamp in the room. But I was thinking of Krishna, and I had no experience of interruption of consciousness, also not of time. It's interesting that, so that is the stage we need to attain, living in a relationship with Krishna constantly. That is Krishna consciousness. And for this, to attain this, we must be situated in our original position as a servant of the Lord. But then, because the purport further explains that we have, as a living entity conditioned in this world, we have to elevate ourselves to this standard of Sambandha Gyan, of knowledge, of our relationship with Krishna. And Prabhupada writes, he says, first you need spiritual association, sadhu sangha. And the next step is you need to accept a spiritual master. The spiritual master gives the knowledge of the process, how to render service, the bhajana kriya, how to perform devotional service. But Srila Prabhupada many times said that tat vicharnartam sagurum evabhigachat samitpani shrotyam brahmanishtam. To understand these things properly, one must approach humbly a spiritual master with firewood in hand. A spiritual master who is learned in the Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. Yeah. There is also that other verse, 11th canto, I think. Tasma Gorun Prabhachita Shikhnasu Shreya Uttama. You must approach the spiritual master. There is no choice. Tasmat means you must. You must approach the spiritual master and inquire from him. So that's the process. We must become the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. Not directly. And we have to learn from a spiritual master. Because a spiritual master, Shreya Uttam, one must inquire from the higher knowledge of how to re-establish our relationship with Krishna, how to attain this sambandha jnana. So Prabhupada writes, and the disciple also know that they have to learn about the eternal relationship between God and the living entity from a realized soul. To disseminate transcendental knowledge, one must retire from mundane activities on the strength of the enlightenment in the knowledge of the Vedic wisdom. This is sum and substance of all questions in this verse. So this is, in a nutshell, the whole process that this sadhu sangha must lead to accepting a spiritual master, and from the spiritual master and the devotees, we learn this abhideya, how to engage in devotional service. But that engagement must be done on the strength of the Vedic wisdom. That this is not a speculation. So Srila Prabhupada gave us this process, how to purify our heart, and it said one must retire from mundane activities. How to do that is not an easy thing. Easy, not easy. Srila Prabhupada gave us a whole morning program and an evening program. If you follow that, you are very busy. We have no time for any other things. That's how we retire from mundane activities. We have no time for it. We are too busy. And Srila Prabhupada gave us a mission, too much thing to do for the organizing the preaching of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Too busy. So once Srila Prabhupada was somewhere in America, he gave a morning lecture, and some devotee asked Prabhupada, do you have lust in your mind? Interesting question. I don't know, I would not ask that to the spiritual master, but he asked it. And Srila Prabhupada humbly said yes. Of course, Prabhupada's mind is pure, but then a little later that morning, Srila Prabhupada went out and they were going to drive him in a car to another temple. And the devotee asked the question in the morning, opened the door, and Prabhupada looked at him and said, yes, I've lust in my mind, but I've no time for it. So that's the point. We must always be engaged in devotional service. Busy, too busy. Then we are always at the same side. And if we take our sadhana very serious, then we are too busy to engage in all other activities. And that is what Srila Prabhupada also says in Bhagavad Gita. We should organize our life in such a way that we cannot do anything else than thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day. Now, we have here this Sambandha Jnana, necessity for the Sambandha Jnana, knowledge of our relationship with Krishna is described. And that knowledge is in the first 9 cantos. And gradually we learn about Krishna's position, about our position, and about the performance of devotional service. That we learn about the chanting of the holy name in the 6th canto. In the 7th canto, we learn what's a pure devotee, and then how to become a pure devotee. We have to surrender, the surrender of Bali Maharaj in the 8th canto. And then in the 9th canto we have the perfected beings like Rantidev, free from lust, and then we come to the beginning of the 10th canto. And then when we are free from lust and we are established in our relationship with Krishna again, then we can understand the 10th canto. That otherwise it will not be possible. That it's mystical. And one must be a devotee of Krishna, or a devotee of a devotee of a devotee of Krishna, to start to understand the 10th canto. But also it means that we must give up everything which is against this acting in this Sambandha Jnana, acting as a servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. We have to give up everything what is against. And what is against are these 10 offenses against the holy name. That's first, we must understand if we want a relationship with Krishna, we must have a relationship with his devotees, friendship with his devotees. And Madhyamadikar cultivates friendship with the devotees. Tries to develop love for Krishna, but friendship with the devotees. It's very important. If we don't love the devotees, we cannot love Krishna. If we perform this sadhu ninda, we criticize devotees, then if someone who criticizes devotees, Haridas Thakur said, is not situated in bhakti, that you can be sure. And the Nectar of Instruction, text 5, gives 3 levels of devotees, and the highest level is the pure devotee who has given up the propensity to criticize others, is averse to criticizing others. So we must come to that level, and always appreciate devotees and not criticize the devotees. Sometimes managers may have to do, but that's their service, that's different. Or the spiritual master has to correct his disciple. But it's not our business. We should not criticize devotees. This sadhu ninda is very dangerous. That Lord Chaitanya calls it the mad elephant, the mad elephant offense. When If we have a beautiful garden with flowers and a mad elephant comes, then afterwards it's forget it. That it ruins everything. But yeah, you have all these offenses. You have the second offense, if you think that names of demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva are equal to Lord Vishnu, yeah, you don't know the position of Krishna, of Vishnu. So you cannot be established, being established in Sambandha Jnana, in your relationship with Krishna. Not possible. Third offense, to disobey the order of the spiritual master. That's a serious offense. Guru avakya, that disobeying the order of the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada asked some disciples once, why am I translating these books in the middle of the night? Why do I give up my sleep? And that to translate these books. I translate these books, it's for you to read. If you are not reading my books, Guru avakya. That is what Srila Prabhupada said. It's an offense to the spiritual master. So we must read Srila Prabhupada's books every day. That especially Srimad Bhagavatam, what we are now doing. Because hearing Bhagavatam every day, if you just every day at the Bhagavatam class, Geldi, the Sambandha Jnana will develop. It's bound to develop if we are serious in hearing the Bhagavatam. It's not easy to be serious in the study of the Bhagavatam. I know our Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he asked all the disciples, yeah, you read the day before the Bhagavatam class, the verse of the next day. You read it, you read the purport, and you memorize it. So if all the disciples of Bhakti Charu Maharaj would do that every day, then we would be already on the spiritual platform, I think. But unfortunately, we cannot do it. It's so difficult to memorize every day a verse. That's quite an endeavor. But just to show the seriousness which is needed to apply this process properly. And that, so yeah, there's much more to say, but our time is nearly over. Is there any question, please? Yes, Paul. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. I have this question, Maharaji. Like you have said that to have good taste in chanting, I should be humble and tolerant. So then I can have interest in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But there is some case like when there is my spiritual master giving some instruction to me to do some devotional service. And then there is some obstacle coming in the devotional service which is unwanted, just to execute my spiritual master's order. Then how much should I be tolerant, or I should not be tolerant, because that is my spiritual master's order, my life and soul, and some obstacle coming in executing his order. If I am not tolerant, the devotee may be offended, but if I have to execute the order, I have to say, please help me. So if I am confused, can you kindly please help me to guide me?
Srila Prabhupada got the order of his spiritual master to preach to the English-speaking world. And he had a lot of obstacles. What did he do? He could not do it immediately, but he prepared for it. Was thinking about it, translating his books in Vrindavan, and he got so many obstacles. To get his P form to go to America was a whole struggle. And then he wanted to go to America with the boat, Srimati Surari. He asked her, please give me a free ticket, but she said Swamiji, you are too old, you are going to die on the... But he kept on endeavoring with confidence and patience. So the formula is Utsa Nisaya Daryat. Remain enthusiastic despite everything. Be confident, yes, I will get there. Daryat, patience, patience, a lot of patience. Obstacles will come. If you are engaging in preaching, is Maya going to agree with you? No. She's going to put obstacles, one after another. But Krishna wants to see if we are really serious. And if we continue endeavoring, in due course of time, we will be able to overcome them. But we should remain endeavor. That endeavor is what Krishna sees. That we should not try to see Krishna, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, but act in such a way that Krishna sees us, and that's the way that Krishna will see us. Don't be attached to the results. And that we should strive for the results, but don't be attached. Just endeavor with your whole heart, and that's the activity of the soul, and that is what the spiritual master sees. That's what Krishna appreciates. That will lead us to perfection. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maharaji. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. Now questions. Thank you. Chandra Srimad Bhagavatam ke, Srila Prabhupada ke, Jai.